See, at some point, you got to ask yourself, why are you here? Why are you here? I don't care if you a troll, trolling my page, or, some form of a fucking devil. Or you could be an angel or a saint or a really good person and just here to help people. I don't care who you are watching this video. At the end of the day, it's about why you decided to come here. Or for some people that don't believe that they decided to do anything and they believe that this is just a coincidence, what is this coincidence about? What is this experience about? So you have to put definition on that. Only you can do that. I can't do it for you. You have to define your own life. You have to make your own way. See, at some point, for those of us that are conscious, because I'm sure I'm mostly speaking to conscious people, but at some point in your journey here on this path and here in this life, you saw something wrong. Something was wrong to you. More than likely, at some point in your life, something was wrong or something went wrong. It could have been a drug habit for some people. You could have got on drugs and then woke up and had an epiphany and saw that your life was fucked up and you needed to stop doing that. Or for some people, it could have just been the world and the experiences that you perceive from the world and the experiences that you got from the world. But at some point, something went wrong. You saw something that wasn't right or something that you felt like needed to be corrected. For some people that were religious, it could have just been you didn't believe in the doctrine. You may have been raised a Christian. And you may have stopped believing in Jesus, because you may have felt like it was something wrong in the Bible. The Bible was man-made. The Bible was written by men, and you don't believe in that anymore. But at some point, my point here I'm making is that at some point or on some level, something was wrong. But the thing is that you can't stay there. When you see something wrong, you can't just stay there and say, okay, something's wrong in this world, but I'm going to ignore it and just keep living my life. And that's what most people do, and that's why most people they hate themselves so much. That's why most people are so upset. Or they hate their life. Because at some point, you may have saw something wrong in life and you decided to settle for it. You decided that you weren't going to try to change it. Whatever it was, it could have been something wrong with yourself or something wrong with the outside world, but at some point you decided that you weren't going to change it, and that's where you mess up at. You see, that's where you really kind of fucked up at, really, to be honest with you. Because when you see something wrong in this world, whether it's with yourself or whatever the case may be, that's definition. That's when you can begin to define your life. And to define, like, why are you here? Your life purpose. Everybody always say, what's my life purpose? I want to get an astrology reading from you so that I can learn my life purpose. That's probably the number one reason why people want to get astrology readings from me, of which I got to do a video on why I'm not doing readings right now, but that's a whole nother story. But anyway, I'm doing readings, but I'm not doing printed readings at this point for certain purposes that I won't speak of here. But when people get these readings from me, the first thing they say is that I want to know my life purpose. What's wrong? What's wrong? Why do you want this reading? Maybe you can start there. There's something wrong to you in your life or something that you see in life that's wrong. And you should start there. That's the best place to start in defining your life purpose. It may just be I'm broke. For some people, that's just wrong and I'm broke. And once you define what's wrong, that's when you kind of grow into learning that, and this is what I personally believe, that the only thing that's going to right the wrong or correct the wrong is you learning about a universal principle called justice. It's called justice. And justice is the only thing that will right the wrong. Now, what is justice? That's what you got to ask yourself. Justice is represented in a lot of metaphysical circles by the sword of justice. And justice has two sides to it. It's an interesting universal principle because there's one side of justice that if something is hurt in this world, or something is sick in this world, or if something is wrong with somebody in this world, there's a universal principle locked into the universe that something or some person or something is going to come to help, to aid that person or to aid that entity. It could even be a tree. If a tree is suffering, according to the reason I'm saying trees, because as you guys can see, I'm in nature, but according to this universal principle called justice, something is going to come along the way to aid that tree. Whether it's the tree is suffering because it's too old and it's too big and it needs to be cut down, it's time for it to die, whatever the case may be. Or it's being, blocked by other trees and it's dying, it's suffering. But whatever the case may be, even if it's an animal, everything in this universe is protected by justice. Justice is like a sword, and there's two sides to it. However, as human beings, and us having free will to be able to tap into the universe and universal laws, we have an obligation to, I guess you could say, swing the sword of justice. We have an obligation to right wrongs, to make things right. That's justice, so that we can eventually find peace. We have that obligation. It's a right and it's an obligation. And the thing is that you're never going to really get justice here in this matrix unless you learn the law. Very important. You have to learn the law. So in you defining your life purpose, now you done found your life purpose, you know what's wrong, you found out what's wrong, and all of that. But at some point, no matter what your life purpose is, I don't care if your life purpose is to save the whales. There's laws protecting whales. That's right, there's laws protecting whales. I don't care if you feel like your life purpose is to help feed the hungry, feed homeless people. There's laws in that. So no matter what you do in this matrix, you are going to have to learn the law. And for those people that are highly conscious and highly spiritual, you're going to have to learn about sovereignty. At the end of the day, you're going to have to learn that. You're going to have to learn that because at the end of the day, you're never going to get justice here in this matrix when it's based on uniform or what's called commercial laws, commerce. Everything in this matrix is predicated upon commerce, and you're never going to get justice because you say you want you want things to be right, but you're never going to totally right the wrong here in this matrix unless you establish your sovereignty. And it's important. You have to do this on a spiritual level first. And that's the only way, because either that or you're just going to sit around and just be looking at problems, and you're going to turn into one of these people that's just depressed because you feel like you have no power, but you really do. But you feel like you have no power, and you're going to just let life push you along the way. You're never going to find your life purpose, and you're doing your ancestors an injustice. See, justice is the part of, I guess, in spirituality, this is the part of when you talk about the God system. Because, we say, some people say, well, God is a just God, and God has to give us our justice. But according to what I believe and what I perceive, God has no care about the material universe. He has no care about it. Or she or it or whatever the case, whatever God is. God is based on higher ideals and things that are unseen. When you talk about the most high, the ultimate God. So when you get into like justice and things like that, like some people feel like they're broke and it's not fair because they grew up in a poor community and they were broke because of gentrification or because of something that happened before they were born. They had to be born into poverty. Say, for instance, you may have been, your ancestors may have got robbed of land, so you had to grow up poor. That's an injustice. That's a legitimate injustice. But the thing is that that's never going to change unless you do something about it. That's the funny thing about economics and money and business. You will remain poor for the rest of your life unless you decide to do something about it. You will remain in this situation because God does not care about money. You say, well, if I play the lottery and I hit the lottery, God let me hit the lottery. No, the computer lets you hit the lottery. Those numbers fell and the computer decided which is programmed by higher beings, decided that it was your turn to hit the lottery for whatever reason, because of the zip code you bought the ticket in, because of the store you bought the ticket in. There's a number of reasons why people hit the lottery. I will have to do a video on that. But at the end of the day, what I'm saying here is that justice is that part when you want to change something on a material realm that you feel like isn't right. You're responsible in taking up that sword of justice or that shield of justice to protect yourself. You're responsible for that. Nobody's going to do it for you. And that's the part. And then when you don't decide that you're going to do that, you do your ancestors an injustice. That's right. And your ancestors are always around you. But the thing is that in Western society, we don't acknowledge the ancestors because we just believe in God we trust. We got that on the money. In God we trust. What God? Gold, oil, and dope. Gomer Oz Dabar, which is wisdom, will, and beauty, which are all physical attributes, with the exception of wisdom. But will and beauty, wisdom can't be experienced unless it's experienced through the physical modality. So what I'm saying here is that your physical reality will never change unless you embrace justice. I have to talk about this because we talk about people getting killed by cops and all of this and all of that. And it's like, well, what's going to happen? God got to come back and change this. No, you're not at peace because of what you see around you. And at some point, you're going to have to become an actor or a figure on the world stage so that you can affect change on this universe. That is your life purpose. That is your life mission. That is what justice is all about. Justice is the fifth pillar on the sheriff badge. See, the sheriff is really the highest law of the land. The sheriff. Excuse me, not the highest law, but as far as enforcing, as far as executing law, the sheriff is the highest form of law as far as being an executor of law. And you notice that they wear a badge. Sometimes they used to wear the 6-pointed star, but now for the most part it's a 5-pointed star. That 5-pointed star means something. It means love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And the justice is the fifth pillar. Very important. It's the fifth pillar because of the fact that justice goes into your creativity. The fifth house, and I'm going to do a video on the number 15 really soon, and I'll be talking more about this, but the fifth house represents your creativity. Justice goes, it's a creative aspect to it too. If you want justice in this world, you want to be rich, or you want your land back that your family lost, or you want the cops to stop killing people, you're going to have to tap into the universal law of justice. You're going to have to become creative. You're going to have to fix the problem. You're going to have to do something within. You're going to have to learn the law that governs whatever you want justice from. But if you don't get no justice, you're never going to get any peace. You're never going to get any peace. So I'm going to go ahead and shut this video down. I just wanted to put this out just to inspire and spark the mind. Your ancestors, they want to help you. But the thing is that you don't want to acknowledge the fact that they govern this physical reality. You have to pour libations to them. You have to call on them, and they will help you to get justice in whatever problems that you have, whatever experiences that you have. Your ancestors are there for you, and they will help you to get that justice that you're looking for. But the thing is that if you keep sitting around and doing nothing about it, you're going to incarnate here in this world, and you're going to end up coming back, or life is just going to pass you by. Opportunities, which is the law of opportunity, is going to come knocking at your door, and you're not going to answer it because you saw a problem in the world and you decided to be a slave. You decided that you wasn't going to do nothing about it. That's right. You decided that, look, I can't do nothing about this. People been losing land before me. My ancestors lost land before I was born. There's nothing I can do about it. The only thing I got to do is take care of myself. I got to do what I got to do now, and I got to work this job and take care of myself. That may be a stepping stone in working that job, but you have to solve the problem. When you see problems in this world, your soul will never rest unless you solve the problem. I was reading this book a while back called Confessions of an Economic Hitman. And this is about a guy that goes and takes over. He's like an economic hitman. He takes over economies, third world nations, and steals their resources and stuff. And he did this shit for the CIA, right? And he said he could never find peace. He couldn't sleep at night. He eventually quit doing it. And he couldn't sleep at night. He went to feed the homeless, feed the hungry. He was a missionary. And he said he still wasn't at peace. And he couldn't find peace until he decided to write that book. He had to write that book because he had to fix the problem that he saw, which was he knew how economies were toppled and why people suffered, why third world nations suffered. So he had to write that book. And you got a book to write too. If you want justice, you got to write that book. You got to make that CD. You got to do something creative to fix your problem. So I'm going to go ahead and shut down. I thank you guys for listening. I thank you guys for watching. Just a brief video clip, sparking the mind for today. Go ahead and get up out of here. And again, my name is Ram Hotep L. Until we meet again, I'll leave you in Hotep. Peace.